Hello everyone, welcome to Forum Chess Club. So today we are going to see how to mate with bishop and knight. So if you look at the board, white has king, bishop and knight, but black has a lone king. It's not an usual scenario, but whenever we have a situation something like this, then everyone will think like, is it possible to mate with just a bishop and knight? Yes, it is possible. I admit it's a little complex, but if you follow three simple steps, then we can able to do a checkmate easily with bishop and knight. So before we get into the actual actual moves, like we have to just look at the steps which we need to follow to do a checkmate. So there are three simple steps. So very first step is going to common for all the end games. We have to capture the center position of the board with our pieces. Then the second step is we have to force our opponent king to move to edge of the board. So edges it can be a file or h file, or else first rank or the eighth rank. So to the edge of the board, we have to force your opponent king to move. And the third and final step is we have to force the opponent king to move to the corner of the board to do a checkmate. So now there's a simple twist here. Since we have a white bishop, we have to force the opponent king to move to the light corner of the board. So since it is a white bishop, we have to make the black opponent king to move to either a a8 square or the h1 corner, a8 corner or h1 corner. If it is a black bishop, then of course it is an a1 corner or the h8 corner. So this dark corner we have to focus on. But now since it is a white bishop, let's see like how we can force the opponent king to move to this square or this square and do a checkmate. So if at all the black knows this trick, to do a checkmate in the light square with a white bishop, then they always think of moving their king towards the black square. So let's see how we can achieve it. Yeah, in order to achieve the first step, that means to capture the center position of the board, we can forward our king to d2. So in reply, like in order to avoid coming forwarding our king, they won't go away in the first step itself to the f5 position, but still they will be blocking to d4. So king d4 in reply. So whenever this is a step which we need to take care. So whenever there is a position when both the kings are facing each other, something like this, then the very next move should be your bishop moving to d3 square, just to control these two white squares, light square. So let's see like how we can move our bishop to d3. So if you look at it, so now king has no option other than going backwards. So we are forcing the opponent king to go back. So that's the reason I said, like, whenever these two kings are facing something like this in this pattern, then always place your bishop in this way, so that we are forcing the king to backwards. Instead of forwarding the king, they will have to go back. So now in reply, king e5. So now just to make our king or the pieces to the center of the board, we have to forward our king. So we can place king e3. So in reply, if king plays d5, then we have to think the very next move which black can play. So now since we have we have a knight over here, let's see like how we can control the dark squares with a knight. For example, here if you look at it, light square is controlled by the bishop, but if you look at the dark square, it is not controlled. For example, here king can come into this square. So in order to control this dark square, the only option which we have is if we can move the knight to f3 square, then of course we can control this dark square, and we are forcing the black opponent king to move to the other direction. Like instead of going into h8, we are just forcing the other king, opponent king, to move to the other direction. It can be of any edge. We can, for the second step is we have to move, we have to force the opponent king to the edge of the board. Either it can be this edge, A edge, or the H. I mean 8th rank edge. So this edge or this edge, we have to force the blacking. So now what, as I said, like we can move knight f3. So now if you look at it, like we just controlled the dark square and the light square with the bishop. So in reply, if at all king played c5, so here if you look at it, it can escape in this way. So anyway, if it is escape in this way, then we will be targeting this edge of the board, and we will be forcing the king to this corner. And if at all it moves towards this direction, then we have to force the opponent king to move to this edge, and at the same time this corner. So let's see how we can achieve it. So in reply, we will be forcing our king to e4 just to advance it. So so for the first step, we have to capture the center position. So now if you look at it, like king is in the center position. So in reply, if at all king played d6, so as I said earlier, we have to just to maintain the pattern of having the both the kings in the same line. You can, in reply, you can give king d4. So now if now it has two options now. For the blacking, it can go to c6 or the e6. So as I said earlier, they won't go to c6 just because we will be forcing. We can easily force the king to the light square. So in reply, they will be always go for e6. So if at all they play king e6, so in reply we have to move. Okay, now you can check. You can check for the next possible move. So now if you look at the dark square, knight is already controlled these two dark square, and the bishop is already controlled this light square. So they can't escape. They can't basically escape via this way. But yes, they can move to the corner. So just to avoid, just to forward our to capture the center position, we can forward our bishop to e4. So now, as I said, within 6-7 moves, we just attain the first step, which is capturing the center position of the board. So we just captured the center position now. So in reply, king will be playing these two moves. For example, once when we played bishop e4, so in reply, king will be playing d6. So just the same pattern which we discussed in the previous moves. Both the kings are in the same line. So now what we will be doing? Very simple. We will be pushing our bishop to d5. So now, if you look at it, they can't stay in this in this rank forever. There's no other option. It has to go back. So in reply, if king played e7 towards the h8 square, h8 dot square. So in reply, what we can do? We can forward our king to e5. So in reply, if at all they played d7. So now we need to think of the very next move which black can play. So now if you look at it, it can play this square, and at the same time it can escape via this pattern. They can escape via this pattern. Can come to this and this. So we have to control the dark square. So light square is already controlled. So now we need to think of how to control the dark square. So dark square, if you look at it, let's say how we can control with the knight. So now in reply, you can play knight d2. So why I'm playing like this is the most effective pattern in which you can control many such white and black dark squares to keep your knight and bishop diagonal in this way. So that's the reason like the knight which is in f3, we just move to d2. So in reply, if at all, as I said earlier, king try to escape via this pattern. So in reply, if they play c7, so the very next step, it can come in this square, in this dark square. So how to control the dark square? It's very simple. We can play our knight to c4. So if we play the knight to c4, then of course we just control the black square, and at the same time bishop is controlling the white square. That's a fantastic move. So now in reply, again, as I said, they can play these two squares. So in reply, they can go d7. So now we can think of the next possible moves. So here, next step, black black cannot come to this position, since we have we just controlled it with knight, and of course it can't go to the light squares since we have the bishop in place. So we can forward our king to f6. So now we can forward our king to f6. So in reply, they won't go to 8th rank. Instead, they will be playing c7. So now think of it. Here, there is an option to achieve the straight line strategy. So now you can place your king to e7. So now if you look at it, king can't move to this square or this square or this square, and of course this square and this square. So only option is it has to go backward. So now in reply, king will be playing kc8. So if king plays c8, then we achieve the second step, which is forcing the black opponent king to the edge of the board. And yes, we accomplished the second step, which is we just force the opponent king to move to the final edge of the board. So the next step which we need to think of it, we have to force our opponent king to the light square corner, which is a8. So in order to do that, you can move your king to d6. So why I'm doing this is, we have to control this light square first, and then we have to force the king to move in this direction. Okay. So in reply, of course they will be playing d8 just because they can come to this position. As I said earlier, we have to control this light square. So in order to control this light square, very simple move is f7. So that's why they can't. If you look at it, they can't escape in this way. And at the same time, they can come to this position as well. And it is a forced move, and it has to move to c8 with no option. So now think of it. Now it can escape in this way. It can come to this square and it can escape in this way. So in order to avoid that, we have to make use of our knight here. Just because if at all we move to this bishop, then again they will be think of moving the king to the dark square. So just to avoid this, what we can play is knight a5. So if you play knight a5, of course we just control this piece. Then black has only two options. Either it can go to d8 or b8. So obviously they will go for d8. So if at all they play king d8, then the very next step is controlling this black square. Like this white square is already controlled. This light square is already controlled. Now we have to control this dark square. So just to control the dark square, we can simply produce a check, something like this. Then obviously they will be coming to c8. So to just defend the knight, we can play king c6. So now if you look at it, king has no option to go to this square. So we controlled the opponent king to move only these two squares. So to the top, to the edge, last two squares. Since it can't move to this square and this squares, so there's no other option. They can move only to b8. So in reply, you can go for b6 again. Why I'm saying this is, now also now we just relaxing the black king to move to c8. I'll say like why we did like this. So if at all king plays c8. So in reply, if you look at it, like we can control this white square with your bishop. That because it can't escape in this way, but it can escape in this pattern. So now you can play e6 check. So now you actually controlled you actually control the opponent king to these two squares with your king and bishop, not with your rook, with your knight, but with just a king and bishop. Let's see how it is. So this light square is controlled by the bishop, and these two squares, three squares, I would say these three squares, controlled by your king. So now you can take your knight out. So knight c5. So the next step is we have to control this square, right? So in order to control this square, okay, now anyway black has to play. So if at all black plays a8, so the very next step which we need to think of is we have to control this square. So this square is, since we have already bishop controlling this square, so this square we can control with the knight. So it's always think of, don't go for a6 now itself, just because it will lead to a stalemate. So don't think of moving the knight to a5 now itself. Instead, think of whenever the king come to this position, then you have to control this square with the knight with a check, right? So in order to do that, we have to do some relaxing move with a dummy move now. So with the help of a bishop, but again we have to think of, you should place your bishop in this diagonal only, just to control this square. Like if you take this take the bishop to some other diagonal, then it can escape. So dummy move, you can play d7. So the king has no other option, it can play b8. As I said earlier, we have to produce a check now. So now, as I said earlier, like you can produce a knight a6 check. Then there's no other option, king has to move to a8. Now you can witness the checkmate. Yes, of course, if you play c6, then it's a checkmate. Like within 15 to 20 moves, like we did a checkmate with the help of bishop and knight. So it might be little complex, but it is achievable just with a three simple step. Hope you like the video. Do subscribe the channel for more videos and more tricks, something like this, and do share it with your friends. And also in the comment section, don't forget to mention the comment. Thank you. Have a nice day.